Welcome to the channel, viewers. Dr. JW, theologist. We're in Muhammad, so near the revelation, so far from the Saviour. Episode 37, when obedience started overriding conscience. And viewers, the atmosphere no longer merely asks people to surrender comfort now. It increasingly asks them to surrender themselves. The younger follower sits motionless while listening to several men discuss obedience beneath exhausted silence. And nobody speaks about conscience carefully anymore. Conscience increasingly sounds dangerous, unstable, weak. One man warns that hesitation during moments requiring loyalty can destroy collective protection surrounding the movement itself. Another insists that true devotion demands immediate submission before doubt has time to weaken resolve. Several listeners nod instinctively, not because every word feels morally clear, but because obedience itself increasingly feels safer than independent thought. And that transmission matters enormously because ideological systems accelerating towards fanaticism eventually stop treating conscience as morally protective. They begin treating conscience as an absolute needing submission, as an obstacle needing submission. And the generation deepens their viewers, not through immediate madness initially, through progressive surrender, through emotional exhaustion, through the gradual replacement of internal moral evaluation with external authority. One follower publicly apologizes after privately questioning whether certain demands placed upon the movement are becoming too severe. Nobody reassures him. Several instead praise his willingness to crush personal uncertainty beneath obedience itself. Another quietly suppresses ordinary compassion after repeated warnings that emotional softness weakens collective purity surrounding the proclamation. And the structure is changing neurologically now. Thought slows, fear sharpens, self-monitoring intensifies, and the movement no longer merely regulates behaviour, belief and self-sacrifice. It increasingly regulates conscience, perception, reaction and moral instinct itself. The quieter man notices how quickly emotionally forceful personalities now dismiss hesitation as contamination threatening collective survival. Another forces stronger public certainty outwardly because visible obedience increasingly functions as protection against scrutiny, isolation, and suspicion. Viewers, nobody openly says your conscience cannot be trusted. Nobody needs to. The atmosphere already teaches that. And the pressure grows heavier there, viewers, because once obedience becomes morally superior to conscience, human beings slowly begin surrendering their internal restraint systems to collective certainty itself. Several men now compete through visible submission, emotional severity and willingness to silence personal discomfort for Muhammad's movement. Another speaker warns that independent moral reasoning creates weakness capable of fracturing everything the proclamation has struggled to build. And the room absorbs the warning immediately, not thoughtfully, reflexively, fearfully. One follower now experiences guilt merely for private questioning the emotional intensity consuming the gatherings around him. Another increasingly believes that if sacrifice, fear and obedience feel overwhelming, then the movement itself must therefore be spiritually important beyond ordinary human understanding. And the degeneration is accelerating rapidly now, psychologically, spiritually, institutionally, civilizationally. And viewers, perhaps this becomes one of the defining transitions in the trajectory ahead. People increasingly stop asking whether authority is morally right and begin asking whether resisting authority itself has now become morally evil. And the movement no longer merely asks for devotion, it increasingly asks human beings to distrust themselves entirely. And once conscience becomes psychologically fused with danger, fanaticism itself can rapidly begin appearing morally beautiful, long before people recognize how completely the atmosphere has consumed human individuality itself. Yet, beneath the escalating obedience surrounding these men, the mystery of the Messiah still remains untouched and unresolved. I'm Dr. J.W. Ayub, theologist, since 1994. Like, subscribe, comment to educate me, and share to help somebody else. I'll see you in the next episode when death started looking holy.